The last update had a pretty big change to the way that the season works. Previously, you could only get data for the season from doing Laboratory Zero. This data you would use in Nebula Distortion and the Great Rift, and it would be denoted by the little icon here on the bottom left of the save data. However, now we can also get the save data from Zero System, which has some pretty big implications. We're going to be going over the differences between Laboratory Zero and Zero System and why you might want to farm one over the other. So let's talk about Zero System first since it's new. The key thing with Zero System is that when you do your runs in the Codex, besides having 5 different worlds with different items, you're pretty much guaranteed one of the rare copy events on the interior. And this is really important because one of the biggest issues with Laboratory Zero is how hard it is to get consistent copy events. The rare Heart of Orvain I've seen once this entire event over a month. So that thing is definitely not showing up very often, and then the normal version of Heart of the Orvain is rare cards only, and it's completely RNG between the 3. So it's pretty hard to get consistent decks with multiple copies in Laboratory Zero, but in Zero System, you're guaranteed to see the copy event, so as long as you already have the Epiphany at that point, once you're in the interior, then you'll be able to get at least one copy of it. More likely, you want to hit the Epiphany and get the copy on the exterior boss kill and then get a second copy, or I guess a third copy technically, during the rare event. Now the problem with Zero System is the way that codexes are generated, because yes, it's very easy, it's guaranteed pretty much to get the copy event. When you do your Zero System runs and you want to generate another codex, you have to either complete the entire run or you have to spend Chaos Orbs or units, and generally people probably aren't going to want to spend their units because this is a lot. A difficulty 10 is 72,000 units. This is going to vanish if you just start using it to spam generate codexes. But in order to get Chaos Orbs, you also have to finish the run. So this means that pretty much even if, let's say I'm doing a run here, I get the wrong Epiphany on the interior, I have to finish the run no matter what. So it's a much longer time commitment in the sense that even if your run is dead 10 minutes in, you have to finish out the rest of the run, get your Chaos Orbs, and get your free Codex generation. So the trade-off is Laboratory Zero, despite having much less, pretty much no copy events, you have the existence of the Mutant Sample event. Mutant Sample, for anybody who doesn't know, is an event that appears in the exterior, and you can convert any of your common cards to the Mutant Sample card, which has the remove tag on it. And the remove tag means that it won't cost any frail memory or faint memory. This means that not even the 10 conversion cost that normally applies will be there. You basically get to remove a common card / basic card for nothing. It's completely free, whereas normally it would cost 20 and also contribute to your stacking. More likely it would end up costing 50. So you're pretty much saving 50 points assuming you remove all 3 basics. This means that for decks that people are running with stuff like a single card or 0 card decks, it's only going to be possible in Laboratory Zero because of the Mutant Sample events. There are some other events in, if I remember correctly, I think Blue Pot has one where you can convert a card into a hunk of meat, but the big difference with Laboratory Zero is that you can freely enter and exit without anything, because when you exit a codex early, you'll lose the run. But here, you can just go in, enter and exit, and you'll keep the save. So you can keep on spamming the specific, they don't call this codex, but you can keep on spamming the specific generated like run that you have until you get the save data that you want. And this is important because if you're trying to aim for a deck that has a high cost, then you're going to want the high tier ones. So you're going, and you won't need to keep on spending your currency to get a high tier one. And this is pretty important because I would say that besides just the decks that have the besides just the decks that need a lot of removals, if you're running a deck that's specific to only a couple of Epiphanies and you don't mind having less copies or having a lower chance of getting the right copy, then I would say Laboratory Zero is the one. The big trade-off really is just Laboratory Zero caps out higher. In the best possible scenario, where we pretend that you're able to hit the copy event in the interior, because of mutant sample, you'll be able to have a much better save data overall compared to Zero system, which is faster for copy events, but slower in the sense that with bad RNG, you have to finish out the run no matter what. And also, one big thing is that you are not really in control of what you get, because I'm going to generate a codex here. We're going to do difficulty 10. We're going to merge. And here, there's 3 different ones. So let's say I was trying to get one for City of Mist. None of these say City of Mist, which kind of sucks, so I'm forced to do a different world, or I can just cancel it and lose the orbs that I just spent. And there is also the issue of if you're trying to farm for a high save data value, it's much more costly to reroll a new codex than it is to reroll a Laboratory Zero. It costs 150 orbs compared to 10 pure white fragments, so trying to target specific high save datas can be a little bit more annoying. I'm going to pick up this one for now. As for which world you want to farm, it's going to depend on the character specifically, assuming you're doing Zero system, because there's a bunch of different weapons specific to the worlds. Like City of Mist, most people are aware, is really good for characters that have zero cost cards or exhaust cards a lot, because you have Revelations of Futility, you have this thing here, Foggy Crystal Ball, 40% damage to cards with 0 attack cost. Fragment of the Empty Void is super good. These are all stuff that you've been seeing a ton from Laboratory Zero, because it shares a lot of the items with City of Mist. There's Eye of the Eyeless for basic attack cards, and then you also have something like Swamp of Judgment also has some really good cards, though I haven't really done this world that much. You have some pretty nice stuff in here, like I think it's this one here, Verdant Shackles. It's just a free 12% attack and 12% defense. Super nice. There's the Flower of Something. This thing, 50% damage if you're at max HP. And then there's this chest piece, probably the best DPS chest piece, because it actually gives a damage stat on a chest slot, plus 6% critical chance. So it's going to depend a little bit on which character you want. I find City of Mist to have a lot of generally good stuff in here, which you've been getting the items from Laboratory Zero, so you're probably pretty familiar with them. But anyways, this is just going over the differences between Zero System and Laboratory Zero. There's definitely some trade-offs between them. I would say that if you don't mind needing to clear out the entire run, then I kind of prefer doing Zero System overall, just because of the higher chance of getting the copy event. Though if you're not trying to get 4 or 5 copies, then Laboratory Zero is definitely fine, because you can just quit out after clearing the first boss.